you're in your life and you're just going through the motions and you're never feeling nervous about something or you're never feeling uncomfortable, really take a look at that and address that and ask yourself, like, what are you doing to grow, to get better, to challenge yourself, to put yourself out there in any area of your life?
What's up?
Welcome back, pod people.
Wow, this feels weird to be back.
I feel like we have not warmed up the mic in like a month. It's been a few weeks.
It's been 3. We batched 4.
I know.
For our trip.
I feel like every single the last 3 episodes, because we did it all the week before we were leaving for Vegas, and we were like, we're about to go to Vegas, we're about to go to Vegas, we're about to go, and now it's like, here we are, post Vegas, post Europe, completely in a different energy, different space. And it's been like a wild couple of weeks.
It has. It's been ups, downs, but all good though.
All really cool things. And that's what we wanted to do with this week's episode, is kind of catch everybody up, share some highlights from TravCon and our trip to Europe. And most importantly, if you guys follow us on Instagram at Kim and Erran G, and you follow our stories, which I totally recommend, PS, then you saw that we got, and I'm doing air quotes, engaged again in Paris.
Yes.
And so that was a really fun story.
Can you really call it engaged though?
Okay,
because
I would like to say I was proposed to in Paris. Can I just have a moment?
Okay.
It was a moment.
All right.
So we want to share that whole story. We shared obviously that it happened on Instagram story, but we thought it would be fun to kind of share the inside of all of the things that went into planning that, because it kind of blew my mind. And just share that and catch y'all up on all the things that are happening this week. Or not this week, but like in life.
Yeah. But before we dive in, this episode is brought to you by Traveler School. It is Go Wow. Go right ahead.
Traveler School is our online course for healthcare travelers that literally walks you through step by step, lesson by lesson, everything there is to know about traveling, and it gives you all of the tools, all of the support, all of the insight to help set you up for success, help you make more money, and help you just have an overall better, more positive, lucrative experience.
Yeah, we dive into getting prepped, to understanding the pay package, to negotiations, to interviews, to resumes,
to housing,
our freaking housing, all of our tips and tools for finding housing, which is a big thing for travelers, to just showing up on your first day and being the best traveler you can be. Plus, you get online and help from us in our Facebook group.
Total exclusive mentorship from
Absolutely.
us. It is an amazing course. We have over 350 students now. If you want to get all of the information, all the details, head over to freedomandscrubs.com. Check it out. And while you're there, please subscribe to the podcast. And when you subscribe, it basically just alerts you every week and lets you know when the episode's available. And leave us a review. Please leave us a review. We love hearing your feedback. And it just helps. The more reviews we have, the more support we have, then the more iTunes will connect it with other people and share our podcast with other people. Yeah. So it helps us. So we appreciate all of your support.
Absolutely. So let's get into this episode.
Let's get into it. Okay, so first we wanted to start off with something really cool that we wanted to share with you guys, because it was a moment. It was a big moment for us. We got an email saying basically that this podcast, the Freedom and Scrubs podcast, had reached the top 1% of all podcasts in the
Society and Culture
section on iTunes.
Which was huge.
It was so cool. It was like a really cool moment. And we were like, wow. And it's just a testament of all of the support in our community, and just the
feedback,
and
everything. It was amazing. We were dancing around in our hotel room in Vegas.
It was a moment.
It really set us up to take our trip to Barcelona and to Paris, and just really kind of allowed us to take a step back and really be excited for what we were doing and the support we had and the community that we built. And that's a big testament to you all. So thank you very much.
Yeah. So let's keep it going.
Let's roll, baby.
Let's keep growing and having fun with this. And I think that was a reason why that felt so cool for us, is because we started this podcast because we thought like it would be a really great outlet for us just to share our voices and opinions and stories and show up authentically and share our true selves and just have this like fun platform to just be us.
Well, and I think one of the coolest things that we received, we got that message that said, "I'm not even a healthcare traveler and I love your podcast."
Yeah.
That was huge.
That was a moment.
It was really cool because it's showing that we're connecting with other people as well through our stories and through just us being us.
Yeah, because obviously we are healthcare travelers and we do talk about healthcare traveling, but really we wanted this podcast to be for anybody who wants to feel inspired or wants to feel entertained or wants to switch things up in their life, wants to do things differently, just, wants to connect with a couple that, is...
Well, healthcare traveling has allowed us the route to do these things that we want to do. And that doesn't mean that everybody has to follow that route. You can take all the different steps that we've taken and apply it into your own life and create an adventure of your own.
I love that. Perfection.
Yeah.
You said that well.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. So we just wanted to share that with you guys first of all, because that was a really cool moment for us.
And that kind of leads in because we got that email at TravCon.
Yeah.
So,
we wanted to just kind of chat a little bit about some of the takeaways from TravCon, because if you have been listening, the last few podcasts, we have been leading up to this crazy conference in Vegas that we go to. We've been to for the last 3 years, called Travelers Conference, TravCon. We're on the committee for it. We help plan it. We're speakers there. It's a big deal. It's a lot of work on our end, but we love it because it's an opportunity for us to connect with our communities and our travelers.
And just be a part of something bigger than us. And
yeah.
I think that was the biggest takeaway that I had, was just being a part of that and bringing like the Allied room to the travelers, which was huge.
Yeah.
And like seeing
Well, let's put some context around that because Erran and I and a couple other people, but Erran and I really took charge with this, creating the first ever Allied room at TravCon. Mm-hmm. So Allied is radiology and anybody that's not a nurse, pretty much. This used to be a predominantly nursing conference.
Yeah.
And just to put that into perspective, there was 1,200 nurses and 200 Allied
this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah. And I think last year there was 60 Allied or something, so we're a very small
It was 130
group.
Allied and then the rest was nursing.
Yeah.
But we had a bigger turnout on all ends this year. It was our biggest one ever.
Yeah. And so one of our missions, Erran and I, is to really spread the word and really be able to create more of a supportive community for Allied travelers. Mm-hmm. And so we created a room or a track basically at TravCon that was specifically geared towards all Allied travelers. So it was all the talks were geared towards Allied. And I think the coolest thing that I have to give you full props for, because I helped, but you pretty much nailed it. The pep rally.
Oh, yeah.
Which was kind of the coolest moment. You want to talk about it? We kicked off the Allied room with this freaking bomb-ass pep rally that I made fun of Erran, but he brought this baby to life, and it really did. That energy was so high, and I think people walked away from that just that was awesome.
Yeah, it was literally, I was a nervous wreck because...
You were shaking.
I had music and I was going to say something in the music, almost pull a whole Jay Shetty thing out.
Like a motivational speaker.
Yeah, but it was almost not a meditation, but it was, with music.
Yeah, it was a moment.
Yeah, it was to pump up the energy, and I've never done that before, but I've always wanted to. And so I never knew, I knew in my head it was going to be good, but could I deliver?
Yeah.
And that's
you freaking delivered, dude. And
I don't remember any of it. I blacked out basically and just went with it. And I didn't even rehearse it. It was just whatever came just flowed out.
Can I just paint a picture?
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, there's over 100 people, I would say.
No.
You don't think there was over 100 people?
It was over 60.
Okay. I'm trying to pump it up a little bit.
I know.
Okay. So there was
the room was small, it
did.
Big.
Okay. The energy felt huge in that room. And so everybody's in and, we're sitting down, whatever, and Erran puts on music just to kind of get the crowd warmed up. And then I have to say, you are a smooth operator on that mic. As an MC, I was literally getting a little excited listening to you. Like, you're just good. Like, you have good energy. Like, your words were like butter. I was like, damn, like, he's really good. So he cranks up the music, and we're like, come on, guys. Like, let's celebrate.
Could you even hear the music?
Yeah, you could hear the music.
Okay.
It was insane.
Okay.
You're like, come on, like, we're all like jumping up and down, like, let's get it going, like, okay, I should not be the hype person. Now we know why you have the mic in your
Come on, guys, let's get it going. Do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be me. But you're like turning up the music, and you just like imagine like Tony Robbins on the mic, like jamming out to, I don't even remember what song it was. It was like a rap song.
Fat beats.
Yeah. Drop a fat beat.
Yeah.
And you were just like going, and I was like, oh my God, it was like art. It was literally art.
Good.
And people were like laughing and jumping and yelling, and you could just feel the energy. Like, we were all there, like, wow, like, we did this. Like, this is a moment that we're all coming together to get to know each other, to celebrate, to support each other. And it was just a really, really cool thing. And to watch it come alive after all of the planning and the talks and how do we want to do it, it was like, holy shit, like, we're here and this is jamming right now.
But it was cool to see you, Laura, Dylan, Julia, all of us standing there, because we brought this thing to life. And that was like awesome to have that moment, to look at them and see it in their eyes too, and be like, wow, look at this.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, just the committee that's always been doing it, just to leave us that route.
Yeah.
To say, go, guys.
Yeah.
Here's your open canvas, go.
Yep.
And literally, like, when I was doing the introductions, I almost couldn't talk. I was like moved by emotion.
You were crying.
I know.
No, you cried a couple of times.
I know.
Like, you got choked up. Okay, you're getting choked up now.
I know.
You're such a sensitive soul.
Well, when I'm passionate about something and then I get the avenue to bring it to life, the nerves go away and the excitement comes on, and then it just feels emotional, because it's like, wow, like, you work really hard to do something, and then it comes exactly as planned. Yeah. It's moving.
It blew my mind. And I think it blew everyone's mind. I think I know actually just from talking to people, that people left and they were just like, and this is what set off the whole conference.
Well, Nurse Blake did.
Well, he did, but that was like the keynote. Yeah. And then our meet and greet was kicking off the conference. And so it was like, wow, like, people were feeling inspired and buzzed, and they got buzzed.
Hopefully.
Right. Next time we'll have champagne. We'll like spray champagne out into the crowd.
Yeah.
And like wear like white t-shirts.
Yes.
Like, that's like our kind of party.
That's Vegas.
But they were like buzzing, and it was just like a cool way. Like, everybody got to meet each other and like connect with a new allied friend to go and take on the conference with. And so it was a really cool moment.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is that we spoke at Newbie Boot Camp.
That was next level.
Yeah, so Newbie Boot Camp is Sunday before the conference starts, and it's where all the new travelers go and they learn the travel things. Mm-hmm. And there's different speakers, there's different topics. It's a whole workshop.
It's like a fully immersive workshop.
It's like an 8-hour day.
It's an 8-hour day, but it is like everything you need to know to get started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Erran and we spoke for the first time. It was over 300. It was almost 400 travelers.
It was the biggest newbie boot camp ever.
Yeah. And it was the largest group of people that we've ever spoken in front of.
Live. Yeah.
Live. So I like got on the stage and I was like, I turned, around and to see the crowd, and I was just like, I wanted to say, holy shit, like, there's so many eyes staring at me right now. Like, it was insane, but I didn't say, obviously, holy shit, but I was like, there's a lot of you guys.
Yeah, and it was funny intense. Because, again, Kim gets a little more nervous with speaking than I do. I just have, like, really trained myself. I think it's from sports, of just knowing how to channel that energy from nerves to excitement. And so I always kick off the talks, but what was funny was Kim's microphone wasn't working.
Of course.
And they were trying to figure it out. And I'm like, my microphone's perfectly fine. And so I was like, I wish I could switch because I'm okay right now.
Yeah.
But then I know that I kick off the talk, so that kind of opens the door for you.
Yeah. I was like, so we went down like 15 minutes early because they have to like mic us up and all that. And while we were waiting, somebody else was on stage. And we were like, okay, I was just like, oh, it was the worst 15 minutes of my life. Because you're just sitting there, like, waiting to go on. You know you're about to go on. There's nothing you can do. Like, it's time to go. Like, all lights green. Like, there's no turning back now. But you're still in this, like, weird place because you can't go yet. You know? And so I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, I kept running to the bathroom to toot. Like,
nice.
I was like, this is horrible. So we finally get in the room, get mic'd up. I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, I'm like giving myself a pep talk, and then my mic doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So then it took like another 5 to 10 minutes to figure that out. And so I was just like, oh my God,
it was good though.
I will say we were the second talk. So we like started the whole thing.
We were technically first. Michelle gave the intro opener to like what to expect.
We were that's
the first talk.
Yeah.
But we were the first like
real talk.
Yeah.
And I will say like we freaking killed it. Like we killed it, and we spoke, not to toot our own horn, but I'm going to toot our own horn because I think that is our element. Like we really do well. Just being able to share our experience and share our story. We have really good energy together. Obviously, we're a couple, so we can kind of go off of each other, which I think makes it a more fun.
It does.
Like, we had a fun talk. And Newbie Boot Camp, I know it's a lot of logistical stuff and whatever. So we had a totally different energy. But people were like, after you guys, it just like tanked. Like, you guys had so much energy. You were so much fun. One girl said that she literally ran out of the room during our talk, or like when it was over, and called her mom or called somebody and was like, okay, I'm traveling. I'm going for it. I'm taking the leap. Like, I'm going to do it, because she said she felt so inspired by our talk that she knew it was time for her to make the leap.
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's the best compliment ever.
Mic drop. Like, it was a moment, and we killed it, and it was so much fun. And then, of course, you know, Erran, they give you like a time clock. Mm-hmm. And the time is just tick, 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 tick. And we have like 8 minutes left, but we still have like a shit ton of stuff to get through. So I was like, I'm like, we should skip this. Like, as I'm talking to Erran, like, it's just the two of us. I'm like, let's skip this part. We need to keep going. And like, people are like looking at us. Erin's like, no, it's okay.
We're fine.
They ended up putting 5 more minutes on for us because we went over.
But we also, with the mic issue and things like that, like they gave us the time, which was nice.
Well, when we got on stage, they hit 45 minutes. So we ended up going over.
Oh, 40. We did.
We like went over.
We did.
But it was fun,
It
was a great way for us just to like kick off the conference. It was fun. It was really fun. And I have to say, like, you know, because we do a lot of live trainings and stuff, and I think we both do well, but like, you are such a good public speaker. Like, I feel like you're a way better public speaker than you are like on a live video or something.
100%.
Like, you come to life, you know, like, I don't know. I was just really impressed with you at TropCon.
Well, and I thought, well, thank you.
Were you impressed with me?
I was. I think you were. Like, I think you did an amazing job. But again, it's funny how I feel like you're a lot better in the lives
than I am on stage.
No, than I am.
Oh, I am.
Right, because I don't know. It's like a different flow.
Yeah.
But I think if you got to figure out how to control your nerves.
Yeah. Then
you would be perfectly fine, because it's your nerves that get in your way. Yeah. It's not that you can't do it.
Well, right.
Like, you speak perfectly fine when and amazing. You have good energy when you're on stage and you're in your flow.
Yeah.
But your nerves get you, like, you start looking at all the different, like, the time and the different things, and you start to rush and you start to tweak and you start to panic. And then it just kind of like, but that's what's good about both of us being on stage.
Yeah, one time I completely forgot what I was going to say. And I was like mid-sentence and I'm like, I forgot. And so then Erran
but just like... But I think that's what makes that cool,
people
though.
like the realness. It's real.
You were like, I just lost my train of thought. And people started like laughing.
Yeah, it's like, because it's real life, you know? Right. And then you swooped in and like took over. Yeah. But one thing, you know, a big takeaway, and we'll leave it here with the TropCon, is that it really put into perspective so I was really nervous leading up to this big talk. Like I said, we did a talk last year, but this was the most amount of people that we had ever been in front of. And I was really nervous leading up to it. And it was like, if you aren't nervous about something in your life, whatever that is, like if you're like working up to something, then you're not putting yourself out there.
100%.
You're not stepping out of your comfort zone. You're not pushing yourself. You're not trying anything different, right? Because that nervousness is a sign of like, because again, it's a nervousness of an excitement nervousness. It's not a nervousness of like something's wrong. It's a nervousness of like, I'm excited, but I'm nervous. I'm about to do something big. Can I do this? You're putting yourself out there. And so I always like, I like to be in that zone of working towards something and getting that nervousness and then coming out the other side of it like, oh my gosh, like we rocked it, right?
Yeah.
Because I used to feel, because we always go through like different layers, right? There's like different layers. Like you're constantly going to be in motion all the time. You're constantly, it's like what used to make you nervous isn't now, and now you have something else to work on. Like when we first started doing live streams.
Oh, we were awful.
No, I would pray that nobody would show up live because I was so nervous. I was like, please don't let anybody show up live. Please don't let, like, because I was so nervous, right? And now, and what did we do? We just kept doing it and we kept at it. And now I'm like, the more the merrier. Now when we have 30, 40 people show up, I'm like, it breathes life into me. I feel
say when
energized.
we have 30 or 40 people, I'm almost like, man, I wish there was more, because you feel the energy.
Feel it.
And you need more people to really step out there, because then you go off of the audience when you let your nerves go.
100%.
And so when there's nobody there and they're not responding,
no, it's the worst.
I hate it.
It's the worst.
Right.
And yeah, it's the worst. And so now I'm like, the more the merrier. Like I can show up on a live stream like a boss. I don't really even get nervous anymore, right?
Well, I mean, look at it from the last year when we did our 2 back-to-back talks.
So that was my next thing. Well, no, then to go to the next level, the first year, so I conquered live stream, right? We've gotten so much better at live stream. The next level was the first year at TravCon, we did a round table. And it's like you're sitting down. It's a really casual kind of a setting. There's like
10 people max.
Well, there was a lot more.
There was.
Yeah. But they're standing around and you're sitting. It's like a more comfortable setting. It's super casual. But I was so nervous, right? I was like so nervous. Like, oh my God. We had like memorized what we were going to say. Like we were a mess. And then circa this year,
or the year before that, we did the just a talk on the big stage.
Right. But my point is that this year we did a talk on the big stage, but we also did like a round table kind of thing where we were just talking specifically about radiology. Mm-hmm. I wasn't nervous at all.
We didn't even go over that.
No, we didn't. We didn't go over it, which I wouldn't suggest.
No,
I would be more prepared next time.
I bulldozed that talk, which sucks.
You totally bulldozed it, but it was still fine. Like, it was still great. Mm-hmm. We knew that because we know each other, but nobody else knew that.
Right.
But my point is that we were eating lunch, and then we looked at the clock, we're like, oh, in 10 minutes, we got to be back in the room to start our round table. And we're like, oh, cool, like, let's go. But there were no nerves there. Of course there's nerves, but there wasn't that like, oh, I don't want to do it, right? And so it's just kind of that like the ladder, what like the steps of like, wow, like how much we've grown. And I'm so excited to get to a point where I can be on stage, we can be on stage in front of 400 people. And it's like to feel that way where it's like, of course I'm nervous, but it's not that debilitating nerves where you're pooping in the bathroom. It's like, oh my God, I'm so excited, right? Mm-hmm. And so this year was kind of like, I'm so nervous. But we did it and I came out the other side and I felt, and that's kind of the point. Like when you do something you're super nervous about and you come out on the other side of it, right? When I walked off that stage, when you get through whatever it is you're nervous about, you feel so much stronger, so much more confident, and you realize like, what a badass you really are and what you're capable of. And it's like the best feeling. And then you're like ready to take on the next thing, you know? And I hope next year will be a little bit easier, you know?
It will. And that's what, almost giving the lesson, we've seen through putting ourselves out there. We know what that feeling is. And again, it's stepped up. Like you said, the round table to the first talk on the big stage to now the newbie boot camp with the biggest people to me speaking in a like pepped up kind of way. Like those were moments that I felt so nervous about, but knowing in hindsight, because we've gone through the motions and we know what that feeling is on the other side. If you don't know what that feeling is, then you can be paralyzed by fear.
Yeah.
And so we know what that feels like to step out on the other side. So we run towards those things. And I can honestly tell you guys, listening to this, trust me when I tell you, yes, you might be fearful of it at the moment, but stepping out and doing it and then looking back on it and being like, wow, maybe I have something to work on, but I did it. And
Agreed.
This is the worst that can happen. What's next?
Right.
And just keep like leapfrogging those feelings and keep going for more. And trust me, before you know it, you're reaching whatever goal it is you have.
And I think like that's just kind of the takeaway that I want to leave with this part is that if you're in your life and you're just going through the motions and you're never feeling nervous about something or you're never feeling uncomfortable, really take a look at that and address that and ask yourself like, what are you doing to grow, to get better, to challenge yourself, to put yourself out there in any area of your life, right? Because when we're not working towards something, then
what are you doing?
Yeah. So just asking yourself that and like leaning into those nerves a little bit and trying something new, trying something different.
Well, I know too, like for me, you know, knowing that we have the support system that we do and the people that love us and support us and are always there for us. Like for instance, when I was feeling nervous before the pep rally, I knew Ali was going to be there. And if you're listening, dude, thank you for all that you do because I just kept eyeballing him and I knew that his energy was going to help support me. And I knew that if I fell in a pickle, then Ali would come and dance.
Yeah.
And like, sure enough, that's what happened. And it just kind of allowed the, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm good. And like, let's just let the energy go. But when I started to feel nervous, like I would just look at him and you could feel the energy off of the crowd. And that's what's really cool to have and to focus on something that's going to like elevate you.
Yeah, to have your person, your support system, of course, 100%. Yeah.
Are you good with TravCon?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all we wanted to say. And
if you haven't been and you're a healthcare traveler, you need to
totally go
next year.
It's so much fun. And like, we're obsessed with our community. Like, we got to meet so many people in real life. And this year especially. And it was such a moment. And because we talk into the microphone or we're on live and we're connecting with people all the time, but there's a big difference between doing it through technology and doing it in person. And so many people came up to us and shared with us how we've inspired them or helped them or supported them on their journey. And it was just so cool to hear people and connect with. Yeah, it was like, it brought me to tears of just like, wow, like we really have the coolest people in our community and that we're here to help support in some small way or inspire, entertain or whatever. You know, I think it's just really cool. So TravCon is a really great way to meet your fellow travel friends and community because we're a rare breed. But when you are with your people, it just feels so natural. Like I feel like I've known these people for, well, I guess we have known them for years. Like our solid group there, we've known for years, but I feel like we're lifetime long friends.
Well, the people you meet for the first time, you become lifelong friends from that moment. Yeah. And that's what's so beautiful about it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's get into Europe. So basically we're just going to get into the proposal story. But what I wanted to say first is Europe was like a really cool moment for us because we came off of TravCon where we were like literally working our little asses off for months and months and months and months and months. And so to be able to have, it was super quick, 3 days in Paris, 3 days in Barcelona, which we booked through Groupon. So just a follow up to that, it was amazing. It was just our flights and our hotels, but hotels were in great locations.
The hotels were fantastic, and I'm like a hotel snob.
Yeah.
And they were awesome. The one in Paris was like a little boutique hotel.
Oh, so cute.
Very cozy, breakfast.
Good location.
Good staff.
I'm all about the location. So we were pleased with the Groupon. I would recommend that to anybody. It's a really great way to do a trip cheaply because it includes your airfare too. So overall great experience, but it was just 6 days where we got to just be husband and wife. And like, there was no to-do list. There was no like, okay, wake up. What do we got to do? What do we got to get done? Who do we have to get back to? It was like, we totally disconnected. And our only MO was like, where are we eating? Where are we drinking? When are we taking a nap? When are we going to have like kiss time? Like, it was just like, we were just having fun. Yeah. It was like, what do you want to do?
It was literally the best trip ever.
Oh my God.
We've been on a lot of trips, but that one took the...
It was amazing.
It was one for the record books.
Oh my God.
It was literally like Kim said, we'd wake up. We had 2 days planned. We basically had a food and wine tour in both places. And the
highlight of the trip. I totally recommend. I will do this moving forward. Every place that we go, book a food and wine tour, because it really does allow you, because you have a tour guide who speaks English and they're a local. And so in Paris and Barcelona, both of our tour guides, they took us to their favorite places of where they would go with their friends. So they weren't taking us to these like touristy places.
No.
They were taking us to off the beaten path, like where good food, good quality, good experience, and you meet people, and then they give you tips and places to go to check out for the rest of your stay.
Yeah.
Hands down favorite experience.
Well, again, you have to understand who they were dealing with too. Kim and I were like on their back pockets.
We were their best friends.
We were asking all these questions. Other people were just like, we're just here to drink food and eat and eat.
Yeah.
Kim and I are like, we want all of the information. And so we did do things polar opposite, which was crazy because we learned. In Paris, we did it on the first full day.
Yep.
And in Barcelona, we did it on the last day. And we were kicking ourselves in Barcelona because we had been looking for the best octopus. We had been looking for all these different things, and come to find out the sangria. We learned about tapas. We learned about, how sangria is just like a touristy thing. It's not really like a Barcelona thing.
The people from Spain put their nose up to sangria.
Yeah, they say it's like a cocktail. It's not really...
Well, because it's made typically with the cheapest wine.
Right.
And so they're all about good quality. And so sangria is known for just being kind of this mishmash of cheap wines.
It's for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, but because we did it on the last day, we got all these fantastic recommendations that I wish we would have gotten on the first day, because then we would have circled back and been able to hit all this stuff up, which is what we did in Paris.
Do you remember our tour guide's name in Paris?
Donnie.
No, in Paris.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. It's a French name.
I know.
Petty.
No, it wasn't. It was a normal name. I thought it was like Aurora.
Aurora. It was Aurora. You're totally right.
Aurora?
Yeah.
Okay, so we went to Secret, was the food tour in Paris.
Yeah.
That was amazing, and Aurora was absolutely phenomenal. And then Donnie in Paris was Wonderbeak.
Yeah.
And that was cool because when you eat little things, it's like a beak. You
peck away. Yeah.
Peck, and then wander was just like wandering through.
Yeah.
And literally, like Kim said, we asked them how they planned the tour, and they're like, "Oh, we just go to where we want to go."
Yep.
So it was their experience. It was their specific tour.
And another really cool thing that I loved is not only are you experiencing the food and the wine, but we learned so much about the history and the culture. And I loved that part because each guide, they were so knowledgeable. And Erran and I, especially myself, I'm a question asker. I love to learn. I love to absorb as much knowledge as I possibly can. I'm really interested in that kind of stuff. So we asked so many questions and they were so knowledgeable. And I just felt like we walked away learning so much about the culture.
Well, think about that too. Fun. I mean, most of culture is really into food and wine. Yeah. Right? Where people gather. That's where the cultures were formed from. Is even looking at what's the dancing in Spain?
Oh, the
flamenco.
Flamenco. Oh, my dance?
Yeah, flamenco. Yeah. Dancing was usually surrounded by food and wine, and then the dancing. Yeah. So it's food and wine is interlaced in everything in every culture. So why not do a food and wine tour, and you get to meet other tour people from
other
travelers, and usually it's Americans, Canadians, Australians. Yep. So it's a lot of fun to meet them. English speaking people, which is amazing. Yeah, it makes it even more fun because now you're like, hey, you guys want to go grab dinner, or you want to meet up tomorrow and do a tour. So even if you're a solo traveler, that's a great way
to meet
people, and then maybe have a travel buddy throughout the rest of your time there.
We met a solo traveler in Barcelona, and it was our last night there. We totally would have met up and hung out with him again. Mm-hmm. But he was like, I didn't really know, if I should go on the tour because he felt a little weird because he was by himself. And he was like, I'm so glad I came, though, because I got to meet some cool people. And he actually lives in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And so we want to plan to meet up with him because he was so cool. And it was it's just such a great way to meet other fellow travelers. And one of my favorite part about both cultures is that a meal is an experience. And I think we forget that in America. It's so fast. It's you're in, you're out. Check. We gotta go. And it's we're scarfing food.
Even the restaurant's kind of pushing you out.
Oh yeah.
Here's your check. No rush.
But get the fuck out.
Right.
And there, it's like, we were at a place in Spain, and it was like getting to be nap time. We got accustomed to taking our daily nap. And we're like, okay, we got to get home to get our nap. And so we ate, and we were like, okay, we're ready to go. We wanted to get the check, and our server was like so cool. But he was like, oh, relax. Like, relax.
Yeah,
like,
you want some dessert?
So
you want
get
some
a
coffee?
dessert, get some coffee.
You want a beer? You want some wine?
Why are you in a rush?
Yeah.
And it was just funny because we're laughing because they're probably like, just these damn Americans always
I'm
gotta
like,
go.
Was he really honing into his like culture, that is the culture?
Yeah.
Or was that a great sales tactic?
He upsailed us on a freaking cheesecake or whatever. He got us on some kind of a dessert. We're like, well, we might as well have dessert before our freaking siesta.
Yeah, but he was like shocked that we wanted the check so fast.
Yeah, I know, because that's not what they do. It's such an experience there, and you just laugh and you talk and you just enjoy company. It's a social event, and like I just feel like we forget that here in the States sometimes.
We've got it all wrong.
Yeah, we need to like switch it up a little bit.
We
I'm gonna start eating slower.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't really have a problem with that.
It's me.
On the other hand.
I know. But I always feel rushed, like I gotta get out, like I gotta go.
I know.
So yeah, I'm changing that up completely. Right. But anyway, do we jump into it?
Okay. Is there anything else that we want to cover? Because we're going to end with the Paris engagement story.
Yeah, we have to tell the plane story.
Okay.
Because, I mean...
This is such a crazy story.
Well, let me start off. What I think is really funny is it is such a crapshoot. I guess that would be the word for it. And
like luck of the draw.
Luck of the draw. When you take a 10, 11, 16-hour flight, who you sit next to is so important.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost gotten to the point where I understand why people buy business class. I understand why they spend the money, obviously. But also just saying, like, is it less expensive to buy an extra seat?
Oh my gosh. I think I would love like the poor man's first class where you get like that middle seat.
Yeah.
Because if you have that middle seat, it's like the lottery. It depends on who you sit by, the experience you're going to have, period. And I will say that in however many years that we have been traveling, we've been together, 12 years, we've traveled quite a bit. We've had pretty good flights for the most part. Like we've been like packed like rats in coach, let's be real, but like we've had like good experiences.
Well, don't you remember on our way home from the Philippines? Whenever we were flying home and that drunk girl got on and she sat next to us, and then there was an empty row and she went and sat, and we were like, oh my God, that would have been a nightmare, because she was naked wasted and belligerent and basically like passing in and out, but wanted to talk and was like...
It's like a nightmare.
Oh, it was crazy.
She was like ripping off our headphones to like whisper in our ears, and we were like,
yeah, but she moved, and so we got lucky there.
Yeah, we've always gotten lucky for the most part, but this flight on the way home, so we flew from London to San Francisco. So it was 11-hour flight. And we sit...
Well, hold on. So you have to understand, Kim pees every 15 minutes.
Yeah,
so
much.
She has to sit on the aisle.
Always.
Which then puts me, who's not a very small dude, in the middle between Kim the peer and freaking whoever I get to draw.
Well, and here's the thing is, like, I'm always, like, willing to let you sit on the aisle and I'll take the middle. But then you either snarl at me when I say, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom again. So I get so stressed out and I end up holding my bladder for so long and being uncomfortable because you get mad at me because I have to ask so many times. Or you freaking fall asleep and you're drooling everywhere and then I can't get out. And so I'm literally sitting there crying the whole time.
Right, which is what we've realized. So now I'm stuck in the middle.
Yeah. So, okay, I have my aisle seat and we end up sitting next to this like little old lady.
Which I was like, all right.
Well, my first thought was like, crap, because she probably has a little bladder.
Yeah.
But she only went to the bathroom like twice the whole flight.
Yeah.
I was up like every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So we sit down. I'm like, okay, this will be fine. So we're on a daylight flight. We have daylight the entire time because we're flying back. What is it? West?
Yeah, 9 hours.
Is it east? No, we're flying...
West. We're flying west.
I don't know my east and west.
We're flying west.
Okay. So we're flying west, so it's daylight the whole time. And we were going to try to catch some Z's naturally so that when we got back, because it was our bedtime from the time zone that we were in.
Mm-hmm.
So we were going to try to sleep and then wake up in San Francisco and be like, okay, cool. Like, whatever. We're back on track. We don't really get jet lag that much. Like, I really never do. I
We
feel
do
like
a good
we have
job
a good
of,
system.
Well, we do, because we figure out what is the time of the place we're going.
Yeah.
And so we try to, like, figure out what it is and sleep on the plane or not, or stay awake and just be tired and then fall asleep when we get there.
Yeah,
so
we have
that's
a pretty
our
good
system.
Except on the way home this time, I was pretty jet lagged, probably because of this freaking little London lady, English lady. So she, bless her heart, she was claustrophobic.
Extremely.
So, strike one.
Yeah.
She was claustrophobic, and she couldn't close the blind or what is the shade?
The shade.
Because she had to stare out of the window, or she would freak out, basically.
Yeah. She's so claustrophobic, she had to sit by a window, but her husband, who was just as old, had to sit in another seat in the aisle because he has to get up and go to the bathroom.
Yeah. So now they're like separate. So here she is, freaking sun. Okay, so let's
and
stick
she's
to the first part.
facing the west
There's
side
so
of
many
the
parts.
plane.
Yeah, there's so many moving parts here. So
Yeah.
the first part is the sunshine. So couldn't put the shade down. Sun is literally beaming into the window. It's like high noon. I have a sunburn on the left side of my face. Like literally my face was red because it was so hot and it was just beaming in. So I'm like trying to sleep and I can't because it's so bright. And so finally the flight attendant came over actually.
Somebody from across the other side of the plane complained.
Because it was insane. Like it was like, put it down a little bit. Like it was, the sun was so hot. Strike one. Strike two, Erran moved. There was an aisle seat across from me.
There was an aisle seat with no seat in front.
Yeah.
So I had a full stretch of legroom. But I had to sit next to a guy who was probably really excited that he didn't have anybody next to him, and then I just come and take that seat.
Yeah, he was pissed. Yeah, he was so pissed when he came over.
He was an English guy who made
They're
it very
so freaking polite, dude.
Yeah, he was like, English. "Oh, you're fine. Cheers."
They're so nice.
Cheers.
I love them.
His son actually came through whenever the guys came through for the food. He was like 2 or 3, and I kid you not, I swear to you, he looked up at the flight attendant and he said, "Do you have any fish and chips?"
Oh my gosh.
And they're like, "No, they don't serve fish and chips on this plane." And
God.
he was very upset that he couldn't get fish and chips. I thought it was like the cutest
I'm like
thing.
Totally obsessed with chips. I've never had chips before. We went to the
I mean, you've had chips, babe. They're French
babe,
fries.
English chips. We went to the Gordon Ramsay restaurant in Heathrow Airport, which is really great if you happen to be there. Like, the food was fantastic. And they had chips, which are fries, basically. But
they were so amazing.
They're, like, triple, like, fried. Like, they were so crunchy and delicious and, like, the best thing I think I've ever had.
Can we go on a scenic route real quick?
We already have. We've completely
Okay, so we're sitting
lost.
at this Gordon Ramsay restaurant. Now, mind you,
God.
our flight was at 2:30. 2:30 we took off. So basically, we're sitting there, and I look up at the board, and it says, flight to San Francisco, go to gate. That's what it said, go to gate. So I had this, like, sinking feeling that, what if they left early? I mean,
which
we were
they can't do.
But we were kind of pushing it, and I've never seen it say go to gate. Like, I thought they were basically saying, you better go now.
Yeah.
So I tell Kim that I had this sinking feeling, and so we got held up in security, and of course, like, it was hilarious because we were so mad, but they were like, hello, love.
Oh my
like, they were so nice.
They took my bag. And their security at this airport was so inefficient. I have never seen anything like it in my life. They were taking everybody's bags to search them, but there was like 10 bags and one person that was going through all of these bags that was slow as molasses.
Yeah, they were chit-chatting about their weekend and...
You should have seen me. I was foaming at the mouth because all I wanted to do was go grab lunch before we got on this 11-hour flight. I was so pissed. So she finally gets to my bag. I'm like beating red in the face. Like, I was like slurring my words because I was so angry. Like, my heart was pounding. And I go up and she was so nice. And she's like, hey, love, like, sorry about that. And like, she's like talking to me. And I was like, it's so hard to stay mad at you right now because you're so sweet.
She checked Kim's bag and she goes, off you go, love.
Off you go, love. Get out of here. And I'm like, oh my God.
Get out of here. She didn't say that.
Off you go.
Off you go, love.
So it's hard to say that at the English because they're just so polite and they're so cute.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, we get our check really quick, and we run down, and we were going to the tram. And what's funny is I knew the gate was like, let's just say C65. Well, we get onto the tram, and there's this guy, and he barges in, and he's like, I have to get there. My flight, got to get to gate C56.
No, and he was seizing. He literally was freaking out.
He wasn't seizing. But
he was free. He was pacing back and forth. I was so nervous. I'm like, dude, what is up with this guy?
For some reason, he was in such a panic that I went instant dyslexic. And, like, I thought our gate was C56. And so Kim and I are like, what? We're the same gate. Why is he freaking out? And in that meantime of knowing that it was C65, but seeing him panic and say C56, I thought it was the same gate. So basically, the tram opens up. He takes off running. We're running with him.
Yeah, because now we're like, fuck.
We're
like,
screwed.
We better follow. And he didn't speak English.
No, he didn't. He was a German Asian guy, which is very bizarre. And so he was on the phone and he's running. And so Kim and I are running behind him. And as he's running closer, we see C56. There's nobody in the terminal. Can I just say
something real quick? Yeah. We're like running, like eating chips.
Yeah. And you had your soup.
Yeah. We had to because of the whole security situation, we had to pack our lunch to go. Like, we sat down, we're like, holy crap, like, we gotta go. Like, we're gonna miss our flight. We don't know why it's saying go to the gate. So we ended up having to take our lunch to go, which I was so mad about. So I'm running, holding soup, eating chips because they were so good. So we have chips coming out of our mouth, running as fast as we can.
Well, I also realized that when we were eating, we were up on the top floor and I looked down and it said transportation to these gates.
Yeah.
So I realized even after security, we weren't in the gate we were supposed to be at. We had to transport to another gate even though we had just been through security.
Right. So it's the whole situation.
It was.
So we're running after the Asian guy. We have chips coming out of our mouth. We're like, oh my God, like, what are we doing? We get there. There's nobody at the gate. And we're like, oh my gosh, like, what happened? Like, what happened? They let the Asian guy go on. They stop us. And we're like, what the heck? Why can't we get on?
Now, mind you, it's 1:30. Our flight wasn't supposed to leave till 2:30.
Yeah.
And we were like, what did they do? Like, oh my God. And they realized, they're like, you're at the wrong gate.
They were like going they're like, are you guys going to Beijing?
Yeah.
It like says that flashing and we're like, we're going to San Francisco. This is our flight to like, this isn't even your flight.
No. So
we just followed the Asian guy we were distracted by the chip.
Because it was the same thing. For some reason, like I said, 65 and 56, but because he was in such a panic, I instantly thought that was our gate.
Yeah.
So anyway.
It was a moment.
Heathrow is a massive airport. Massive.
Insanity. I've never seen such a crazy airport. Like,
did you remember how far we had to ride on that bus?
Yeah.
Just to get through
security? It was like at least a mile. It was insane.
A mile?
It was a mile.
It was way more than a mile.
You think a mile's really long. You think it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is.
It was forever.
It was like a 20-minute bus ride.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we finally make it to our gate and like we were fine. So then we sit down, I ate my soup, we finished the chips.
Yeah, now we're on the plane.
Okay, so now we're on the plane. So we've gone through strike one, which was the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Second strike. Now Erran has moved across the aisle. Now this was the other thing. This is strike two. I was so freaking pissed off. The flight attendant, nice as could be, offers a little old lady the seat so she could move out into the aisle and Erran and I could get poor man's first class. And there would be a seat. Erran could get the window. I would get aisle. Life would be good again. And she goes, oh no, I am not going to move because she has to sit by the window because of her claustrophobia. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what are the chances of this? So again, Erran moves across. That was strike two. Erran moves across the aisle. Now her little husband, this is strike three. There's 4 strikes.
Well, the flight attendant even offered that too.
Yeah.
Because she was so... Now, that crew on British Airways...
They were amazing.
They
were the friendliest.
The pilot was amazing.
Oh, my gosh. He's like, when we take off, we're going to take a immediate left, and we'll be going over...
Don't be alarmed by the immediate left.
Yeah, like, they were, like, giving us a play-by-play of, like, every step. It was, like, awesome. So then her sweet little husband decides to come and have supper with her, okay? And I'm like, are you kidding me? And all I wanted to do was like take a nap. Like I was like tired. And so I knew we had to eat, whatever. So he comes over with his glass of wine to squeeze in next to me to have supper, which again is really cute if you think about it.
Yeah,
they just wanted to have
supper
I
together.
know. And that's like, I was such an asshole. And so he comes over to have supper, ends up spilling his wine like all over me, all over my TV, all over my chair. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? Like, so then we all have supper together. They ended up being really sweet. They were going to Sebastopol, which is where I used to work, actually. Their son lived there, and they were going to visit them. And so we started chatting about that, and they were really cute. So finally, we had finished supper. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to take my night-night pills. I'm ready to go to bed. Like, the party is over. And so I, like, looked at him. I'm like, are you staying here, or are you going back to your seat? Because I have to get up to go to the bathroom, and then I'm going to go to sleep. And he's like, oh no, I'm going to be heading back over to my seat. I'm like, okay, like, I'm getting up now. I was like, basically like, I'm like, you're out of here, you know? So then he finally goes back to his seat. And then the fourth strike was, I am so exhausted. I take my pills and I put my earphones in, which I feel like is the universal sign of like, don't talk to me. You know, like you have earphones in. And she kept trying to talk to me. And I would be like, you know, you take your earphone out kind of like looking like, what? You know, like showing that, hey, I'm not really chatty. What did you say something, you know? And like, she didn't get it. Like, she just kept going on and on and on. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I finally put my head down to like go to sleep and I kept waking up. Like, I didn't sleep that. Okay.
Did you snory?
Whatever. I don't remember. Apparently I fell asleep because
through my earphones across the aisle, I just hear.
It wasn't me.
It was you.
I don't know why I've started snoring. So apparently I did sleep. But there was a time when I kept like waking up, and every time I woke up, she was always awake because she was always looking out her window and she'd want to start talking. So it got to a point where I didn't want to like lift my head because I didn't want her to see I was awake. So then I get under my blanket. So she can't see.
You look like a hobbit.
I know. It was like a whole moment. So
yeah.
It was just like, bless her heart. She was so sweet.
They were
just
sweet.
a nightmare to sit by.
Exactly.
They were trouble. We knew they were trouble from the get, dude.
Yep. It was definitely a flight to remember.
Oh my God.
To say the least.
We get home and we were supposed to, Erran booked a night at my favorite airport that.
A night or like too late.
Well, that's what I was getting at. But the airport faces the SFO runway, and he got runway view. So we could sit and just watch the planes take off because we thought, oh, we'll get home, we'll be tired, we'll just go to this hotel, get dinner, sleep, and just like relax because we have a 3-hour drive home. And we accidentally booked the night for the wrong night. And so we
got home earlier than we thought.
Yeah. And then the night that we wanted was like $500. And then we're like, screw that. Let's just head home. And so we ended up driving like an hour and a half.
Halfway.
And then we're like, we gotta pull over. We were so tired.
Dude, I was so tired I pulled into a gas station and basically pulled up onto the handicap runway thinking it was a parking spot. I get out of the car, go get a cup of ice and a drink, and I come back out of the gas station and I look and I'm like, what idiot? Oh my God, that's mine.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, I gotta get to the hotel. I'm so tired.
Oh my God.
It was those sleepy pills.
It was those damn sleepy pills. And we crashed. Like, we went and we watched like an episode of Bobby Flay, and then we like
I've never slept so good.
F out. It was like the most comfortable bed.
Yeah.
It was a moment.
Anyway.
Let's end it here. I know this is a total cliffhanger because we said we were going to talk about the engagement, but
we kind of got lost in all the other stuff.
Yeah. So let's put a pin in it. And next week we'll pick up and share, because it's kind of a longer story.
It is a long story.
And I don't want to feel rushed through it because we also very much value your time and ours. And so we don't want this to be an hour and a half podcast.
Right.
So let's put an end on it right now. And next week we'll jump right in and we'll pick up the engagement.
Yeah, you guys got to come back for next week because I'm excited about this story. It's actually something that we haven't even really dove into the depths of it, and so it'll be exciting. So we'll I might be sharing a few things that Kim doesn't even know.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So
I don't like surprises on air.
It's not surprises, but just,
not when the mic's
just
hot.
the logistics of all that went into pulling this off. So
it's a cool story.
So we'll see you next week. Make sure to come back. Make sure to subscribe so that way you get the alerts when we come on. But we do post a new episode every Tuesday. It comes out at 4 a.m. Pacific time, 7 a.m. on the East Coast.
So you can listen to it on your morning commute
to
work and catch up with us and have us in your ears while you are sipping your coffee and heading into work for the day.
Yeah.
So we will see you next week. Please leave us a review and subscribe like Erran says, and enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Bye.